Hey everyone, Owlvine here, and Bear. He came in, he needed cuddles, so that's happening. So I had another video planned for today, but then this topic has been sitting in my mind for the longest time, and then just today, this happens sometimes, I get like a pressure gauge, and it's like I'm getting tapped on the head, like bing, 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 like this needs to happen now. So I'm like, okay. So, so we're doing a different video to what I planned, but like that doesn't even matter. I'm titling this video something along the lines of, how long have you actually been a witch? There's this whole thing, please don't burn your butt. Yeah, be careful, be careful. You're too big for this room. My room is tiny. So the question is, how long have you been a witch for really? I have seen around, everyone says, you know, I've been a witch for 3 months or a year or 2 years or 3 years or 10 years or whatever it is. People who come into the craft, they say that they don't know much. I've noticed this particularly with people who are older, who may be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and they're like, oh well, I really don't know anything much about witchcraft. Like, I've spent my entire life not doing witchcraft and now all of a sudden, you know, I'm a witch. But I would like to challenge this perception. For me, everything I have gone through and everything I've learned, every experience I've had comes into what I do now. It comes into my spirituality now. It comes into my magic and my understanding now. I don't think there is as much of a separation as we sometimes think. Everything that I learnt in my past spirituality, so for me that was Christianity, everything I learnt within Christianity has shaped me into the person that I am now, and I've learnt so many lessons there that I have brought into now. It's all a part of me, it's all weaved in there. Whether it is shadow or light from that space, it's all within here, and it's all learnings that I have, and it comes into my spirituality now, into paganism and into witchcraft. I've only been practicing witchcraft for 3 years, almost 4 now, almost in my 4th year, you know what I'm saying? And yet I have quite a lot to say on the topic, and a lot of people who have been practicing much longer than me are like, wow, like I'm really surprised by all this stuff that you bring forward and all that kind of thing. And it is because at no matter what stage we're in, we've got something to bring to the table. Like, I absolutely believe that's true. From a space of having limited experience, there is a different perspective than if we have been in for a long time and have that kind of built up experience. But also I think it really is our entire being that comes into it. It's everything that we know and everything we've experienced. So much of what I learned in my arts therapy course, which was 2 years long, and during the first year is when I discovered witchcraft. Well, paganism first and then witchcraft. And so much of everything that happened there and everything I learnt there, arts therapy, which is not strictly anything to do with spirituality or magic, is brought into my craft now. Everything I share on here with you is an accumulation of everything that I've experienced in my life. I have experienced a lot of stuff. I have had people say to me before that I seem like an old soul, or I seem, you know, wise beyond my years and all this sort of stuff. And I really think that knowing, wisdom's kind of like one of those ooh words, but knowing, you know, comes through experience. I've had a lot of experiences in my life, a lot of awful experiences, and for the last 5 years I've been going through a process of really developing myself. You guys would not recognize me from before. I would never have sat down in front of a camera before. Doing this, I was kind of journaling about it last night, like all the things that I'm doing now and where I was at 5 years ago, and I was like, holy wow, so different. All these things I'd never imagined that I would be doing. Some of them I thought back then that, oh, that would be nice to do, but I was like, oh no, never. But going through all this self-development stuff, working through all of my shadow, has brought me so much knowing about myself, and I apply that to my spirituality and to my magic and mesh it all up in my own understanding and knowing and through my vessel, and then I talk about some of that with you guys. Now, on the other side of the coin is, how long have we been practicing magic really? An important question comes into play here of, what is magic? Now that is something to explore and journal on. It is not, in my mind, just spell casting. There is so much more to magic than that, like so much more. That's just like, you know, one awesome part of it, one very obvious part of magic. There is a lot more that is weaved into magic. So a lot of the things that we do in our craft, particularly as we go along and gain more confidence and go, oh, okay, like I can do all this stuff. I can do basically whatever the hell I want within my magic and within my witchcraft. There's no rules. You just go with what works for you, you experience, you explore, you weave yourself in, and you come out with this unique path. You walk this unique path. So I think the longer we go along, and maybe even sooner for some people, because again, we've been knowing from all of the stuff before, we know that magic isn't just spell casting, and actually a lot of the stuff that we're doing now is stuff that maybe we've always done. We just didn't call it magic. We didn't have that association with it, because so much of what we do within witchcraft is mundane. Like, it's mundane stuff, or it's very spiritual stuff. So there's people from all different spheres of spirituality who actually practice this stuff. And there is a lot of that within Christianity. I can see that alignment there because that's my background. I really believe that so much of the time people do the same stuff, but they explain it differently and they understand it differently. But underneath, it's the same stuff. So that was just a little something I wanted to bring forward, something for you to think about. How long have you been practicing witchcraft, really? I think it may surprise you. Everything within your life up to now comes into this. So really, you haven't been just practicing for a year or a few months or a couple of years. There is so much more to it than that. Now, consciously practicing, yes, and that's a different thing. But everything that you've learned, everything you've experienced, any spirituality or religion that you've been in before now isn't discounted. It's not like it was like wasted time or something like that, because you got all of that learning and knowledge and experience through those pathways, and now you are continuing on your pathway. It's not like we're all of a sudden on a completely different path, although we can be tempted to think like that. And please excuse the noise happening outside. Hopefully you can't hear it. But really, we have one life path. There are many directions we can choose along that path, and there may be deviations that we've taken or corners that we've turned, but really it's all our life path. So there is no just coming onto the path a year ago. You've been on this path since you were born. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think down below. I would be very interested to hear your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video. Sending so much love and many, many blessings.